Hello everyone, this is my commentary for my Magic Boy run I did yesterday in 4643. So the way this game works is that you need to clear out the enemies, but there's also a rainbow you can get in levels that makes it go more quickly. Just lets you instantly complete the level. And another thing you can get in other levels is a book, which causes you to play a bonus level, which is a little bit slower, because it takes like 21 seconds, so in a lot of levels you won't want to get it even if it's there. But there's still some instances where we'll want to get it just because the game takes, because it's not too long to clear out the level, and you need to go to like the end of the level to get the book. And so the general story with this game is that you play as a wizard apprentice named Hewlett who accidentally let all the monsters out, and so he needs to go and clear all of them up and destroy all of them, and get back to sorcery school so that no one notices. And so we're just clearing these enemies out. This game can be pretty tricky also, because it's one-hit deaths, and if you take too long the enemies will respawn, so you need to be really careful about that and be sure not to take too long. And so this is another level we'll be getting a book. I'm intentionally avoiding that blue, like the blue thing there, because that takes a little long. Because that doesn't let you destroy the block I just destroyed there to get the rainbow, so you want to be sure to avoid that. And it does run out after a little bit, but that takes a little while. And so here's the level where we'll be getting a book, because it's right at the beginning of the level. I still think it's a little slower to get it, but it's kind of a more safe strat to do. And these bonus rooms usually have like extra lives and other things, or stars, which can give you like another continue, which is pretty good to get. Unfortunately, you start with 3 continues, but it unfortunately caps at 3 continues, so I won't be actually getting any continues from these stars. But if you start from a password, you don't start with any continues, so getting the stars is a lot more important if you're starting from a password. Which, another category I run, second section, you start with 0 continues, so stars are way more important in that category. And there's like 8 worlds with 8 levels apiece, and the last 4 worlds are the second section, which is a lot harder because the enemies can shoot back in that section, but we'll be getting to that later. And so that level that I just completed is particularly annoying because the jumps to get past the set of 2 springs are really tight. So that level can be pretty annoying in a speedrun. But we got past it. And now I have like 5 lives, and that's actually the cap. I won't be able to hold any more lives if I get more. So there's not. But I did take a death right there, so I will be able to get more lives now. But still, I feel it's kind of a little bit rude that there's like a cap to the lives. And so here's another level where I'll be wanting to get a rainbow to complete the level more quickly. So there, and that's the end of that world. And so this world's kind of a little... You still have to like destroy the enemies, but I'll be going over to get a book to complete this quickly. And those like platforms that are red on top, if you just step on them, they're going to be spikes. But if you walk onto them, you'll be okay. And the reason they weren't spikes there is because after you complete the level, you're safe from hazards. So what I wanted to do there is keep that bomb to destroy all these enemies, but it's not the biggest deal if I don't get that. Getting a power-up will overwrite your previous power-ups. So you want to be careful with the order in which you get power-ups. It's not as important now, but it can be particularly frustrating later on in the game. It can get to the point where you literally have to reset the level because you got the power-ups in the wrong order. And so there we're getting another rainbow. And you can reset the levels by pressing select. And you can also like restart from where you already were if you want, or you can just reset the entire level, which I feel is kind of which is kind of a neat feature. I mean, honestly, it's a little frustrating that the game is designed in such a way that you might need to do that, but still, at least it's there. And yeah, avoiding the enemies can be a little bit tricky there. That moves pretty quickly, so and I forgot that was there, so was not able to react to that. So. Or I could have, but like, yeah. And yeah, those like just disappear and reappear. And so I don't know if there's a book in this level, but I guess it could be faster, but this level isn't that long to do with killing enemies. Generally, a lot of the first section aren't that long. There are some exceptions, though. And also, no, I don't have any explanation as to why they sound like cats. And so that bomb there, I don't think I actually get much use out of it. I'm able to destroy that enemy, but I'm not able to, like, those weren't enough on screen for me to be able to destroy those there. Unfortunately, I can't destroy those blocks there. Yeah, this is one of the long rolls just because there are so many enemies to destroy. Like, casually, it can be a little stressful to do because you're worried about the enemies respawning. But here it's not that bad. And you can also kind of tell how you're doing by the music. And so, what I did there, like, the collision for the exclamation point blocks isn't exactly perfect, so it's possible to, like, if they're aligned in the correct way, you're able to just zip when they're invisible, when they're exclamation point blocks. And the failsafe for the programmers did for if you fall in a pit is to, if you, like, fall off the level, is to take you to a secret bonus, which I do in that case. Honestly, I don't think that's as fast as getting the rainbow, but it's just such a neat clip that I think it's pretty cool to show off. It's just such a neat zip. And yeah, the shot to get that first enemy there can be kind of precise, so it's not that surprising I took a death there. Well, at least it wasn't that long of a death. And so we're nearing the end of Wet World, I think. Yeah, this is the last level, and yeah, this isn't that long of a level because you can just get a book pretty early on, and the blue potion I got there, that protects you from enemies, from most of the hazards. I'm not sure if it's all of them, but I think it's almost all of them at the very least, and it helps with making parts easier. I'm not sure if it protects you from, like, spikes, though. I know it protects you from water, so that's cool. And so that's the end of that world. And so now we're on to Plastic Place. So there are some pretty good tracks, but this is kind of not that long and just kind of the same loop a lot. And oh yeah, it's so hard to get up to the second set of springs there. That was actually quicker than I usually am able to get up there. It's like really precise to like get shot up to the second set, so that's kind of a little silly. And those blue platforms there, they prevent you from being able to jump, so which makes these a little bit hard to clear out. They also slow down your movement. Not the enemy's movement though, as you can see that. And so this is where the disappearing platforms start getting a little more tricky. You have to worry about dying if you don't do it correctly. And gosh, I've gotten so many stars in this run, I think. If only I could actually get more continues. Oh yeah, this level has a lot of enemies to clear out. Hopefully all the enemies are kind of close together at the beginning. And also there's a blue potion, which helps. So even though there's like a lot of enemies to clear out, it's not that bad. It just means a lot of meows. Yay, the gold! And so, I kind of want to do this in a particular order so that I can both get that blue potion and be able to get through the level. This may not look that bad, but if you fall down and none of those platforms are there, of those disappearing platforms are there, you'll need to reset the level, which can lose quite a bit of time. And also those blue blocks, you see, if you get all those, you can get 1,000 points, but the screen that shows that you get 1,000 points loses sometimes, so I don't want to do that in the run. And also, as far as I know, points aren't actually helpful for anything, so yeah. So there's not really any reason to get them in the run. And here we'll be doing another secret bonus because it's really fast to get it. Like, it's really on level. And so this just has like one enemy, 3 enemies right at the very beginning, and then 1 at the very end, so it's not that long of a level. Like the enemy's just right up there. So we'll just begin that real quick. Oh, this set of enemies can be annoying because they can't be hit the entire time. If they're inside the block, you won't be able to hit them unless you have like a blue bullets. They can go through the walls. I think that's last place done. And so now we're heading to like the last unique location. We'll be doing some sections after this world, but this is the last like unique location and unique music. So I'm pretty sure it's not faster to get any books here because this level isn't really that long. And also, you may have noticed you can use L and R to pan the camera, which is nice. It's nice you can do that, but it does kind of cause the screen to shake some. And you can also do that to get enemies on stream, which is pretty helpful. And so this part, there was one power-up earlier that it's a good thing I didn't get. Like, I think it makes you shoot down, which makes that section a lot trickier. The power-ups in this game honestly range from required to beat level 2, you literally have to reset if you get it. Because you know this game is... Because you know that's just totally how this works. I don't know, it's kind of fun now that I know how everything works, but it's kind of fun to like play around that, but that can definitely be frustrating, having to reset levels because you get power-ups you don't want. I'm just gonna do a jump past there. The collision of platforms kind of works in a little bit unintuitive way. Like you can like go up through most platforms, but like there, but you can't. Like there is some collision, but just it can be a little hard to figure out how it works. And that's that set of levels. Or that, no, well, the first that you can do. You can only do the first 4 levels, and then usually the next 4, but you have to, in this world in particular, you have to do the 8th level last, but you don't usually have to do that. Unfortunately there I got it. A power-up that shoots up, but I was still able to destroy that enemy. But it's honestly a really tight window to hit enemies that are to the left or right of you if you have an up or down shooting power-up, so I generally don't like having to do that. And there I got probably one of the best power-ups in the game, the triple shot, the triple blue shot. It can really help with clearing out enemies, and it shoots through walls. The only flaw is not being able to destroy walls, but there it's not really important to do that. Just focus on destroying enemies. And having it for this level makes it really quick. Yay, we're at the last set of levels. Or the last level here. This is pretty... You just need to destroy one enemy. It's probably one of the easier levels, even though there's like spikes you fall in if you fall through those disappearing blocks. And hey, that's the first half done. So now we'll be entering section 2, and this is where the game starts picking up quite a bit in difficulty. Now the enemies can actually shoot back, which makes a lot of sections way more annoying. And so for that we'll be getting that. And generally the design is also more tricky than in the first section. And so here I need to time how I do this so that I get both those without that enemy being able to shoot me. And it's honestly pretty hard to figure out at first. I really appreciate that this game offers passwords at the very least. It's just I wish they didn't start with 0 continues. That made it really hard for me to complete this game at first. And so here I want to pan the camera up so that that enemy doesn't get a chance to shoot. Sometimes they still are able to shoot, but it's hard to... they're less likely to do it if you do it like that. There's actually a rainbow in this level, but the window for getting it is pretty precise, so I tend to not go for it. Like, to the right I can shoot a block and go back to the left and get a rainbow there, but it's really hard to do, so I don't typically go for it. I just clear all the enemies out. And so here, the general strategy for this level is to use that potion there, and I want to be careful to avoid that because if that happens, if I get that, I'll lose the potion, and it'll be a lot harder for me to win the level. And there is a book in this level, but it's very close to the end of the level, and it's much faster to just complete the level. And so this level I try for a book on. This is one of the more frustrating levels because if that downward shooting power doesn't spawn in the right place, there's not really much you can do. And here I'm gonna shoot that block to get a book. It's actually really precise to be able to shoot that bottom block there. That part can be pretty frustrating because if I don't shoot in the right way, I'm not able to stun that enemy, and there's not a lot I can do. After that happened, I kind of did decide to do like a little bit safer way to do it. And if usually and you do sometimes have to worry about that enemy like sniping you from above, but the birds sniping you from above. But if you're careful, you can be fine. Or if you do it in that exact position, you're usually fine. I just generally aggressively like move to the left and hope I don't get sniped. And there is a book at the end of this level as well, but it's much slower to get. In the marathon, I might be going for more books because just so I can get more extra lives if I'm already low on them. But here I'm already almost at my max amount of lives, so I didn't go for the lives here. And this just has with star level, so... And if you don't get it, you can just reset, so there's really not any danger to this level, thankfully. And so, there's a really cool thing you can do with that spring. You can just hop directly to the left. I kind of find that a little bit easier, because there's like a 2-spring jump that you have to do later, and if you don't get it, you'll just take a death. And... I don't know if this book is... I don't think this book is faster to get, but it's much safer than doing it by clearing out all the enemies, and it's hard to get the strat perfectly for clearing out all the enemies. So, and I'm already at the cap for continue, so I don't bother getting the stars here, even though I could get another continue if I wasn't at the cap. And here's another level with like I can get. It's at the middle level. I don't know if it's faster, but that part there you have to move pretty precisely to not get hit by the fire or get hit by the sharks. And there's also me at the bottom you have to be careful about. So here I get to get another life, and I'm at my cap. And that's the first half of that world. And so this level can be pretty tricky because the way those shoot, it can be really hard to dodge them. So I'm typically pretty careful here. And also, since you can't jump there, that also makes it tricky. I like doing this jump, but you have to watch out for that, for the red crab shooting, because if it's really easy to just suddenly get wrapped around to the left side of the screen and then just take a death because the crab is shooting there. And interestingly, with the screen moving up and down, it's possible to do like a clip here, and go to like another secret bonus, but interestingly, that actually soft-locks the game because you'll just keep infinitely doing bonus areas if you enter a secret bonus within a secret bonus. So that's honestly kind of something pretty neat, in my opinion. I mean, neat in kind of a... in just kind of a glitch way. And this is honestly what I would probably I'd consider this probably one of the hardest levels of the game, because there's a lot of enemies to shoot, and this is another level where if you have the wrong power-up, it's almost impossible to complete the level. And so there, unfortunately, I got the forward shooting power-up, which doesn't really work that well for this level. For clearing out those enemies, like it spawned right on top of the power-up that'll shoot up, which is what I actually need to have. And so if something like that happens, it's really unfortunate. You have to just... This is probably one of the worst levels about that, honestly. And there, I was able to destroy that, but I wasn't careful enough about watching that crab, so I just took a death there. And so there, so luckily the forward shooting power spawned on the top of that time, so I was able to just get the up shooting power up, and in my opinion, like clearing that crab out by shooting up there is an easy way to do that, and it's also safer because you're not in danger of getting hit. There is a time limit for doing that strat. If you have to make sure to do that before the up shooting power up runs out. And the positioning to do it is a little precise, so that's still a little tricky. But even if you do fail it, you can just do the other strats of going with the string, even though you do take a little more of a risk. I'm not sure. It might be possible to do this faster if you don't get the book, but if I remember correctly, that level is pretty rude if you don't get it. And so this will just clear all the enemies out. Unfortunately there, that shark was a little mean. And that's the end of Wet World. We're getting pretty close to the end of the run. There's only 2 more worlds left. And as a whole, the world coming up is probably the hardest world in the game, I would say. Plastic Place Section 2. Because there's a lot of pretty tricky things you gotta do. And luckily, I was in those ice blocks, so the shot didn't actually hit me. The shot that the bird did. And here I want to do it in a specific way because I don't think that the enemy shoot if they I don't think the elephant was enough on the screen to be able to shoot bullets, so I was able to just shoot from there and get them there. Oh, right, this. I'm remembering when I did this in the run. I wasn't able to do that in time, so I had to try to wrap around as the enemy was moving, which wrapping around when enemies are moving is a little tricky because there's a small interval that you aren't able to shoot when you wrap around on the screen, and so if an enemy's moving like in an enclosed space to the edge of the screen there, it can be really hard to destroy them. And you just suddenly take a death without really being able to do much about it, so you kind of got to plan out how you do things there. And so here I'm going to be getting like a book at the bottom of the level because that's a little easier than having to clear out the enemies, and it doesn't take that long to get. And unfortunately I got ambushed there a couple of times, so this run in particular did end up being a 1 credit clear. Some of the enemies can be kind of rude. Luckily in this mode you start with pre-continue, so I still have... I'm still gonna be finishing the run, but yeah, this game could just be a little bit mean. And also have some chances to get extra continues in a little bit. So I'd say at least this category of the game is generally pretty marathon safe. And there's also password after each world, so even if I end up game overing, I can continue the run from the beginning of the world. Oh, right, this level. You have to be really careful with how you get the enemies. Unfortunately, that shot at, like, the worst possible time, so I wasn't aware it shot a bullet in. I just jumped and took a death, unfortunately. And so I think I had to be a little careful with how I did this. Unfortunately, I destroyed that bee right there, so I wasn't able to actually get it and clear it out of the level. So I had to loop back, and then it just headbutted me from the bottom of the screen just because the camera wasn't panning correctly. Because, wow, this game can be kind of mean. But this level isn't the longest level, at least, so it's not as punishing as deaths in other levels. And this level is pretty short. There's only one kind of tricky part. You have to be sure to get the book that's in that block, which I did not do, so I actually took a death there. There's kind of not much. You could, I guess, just... I guess you could try to like get the Robo-Dog there, but I don't know, that's kind of also, and it's a little bit precise positioning to get it. And so this level is probably one of the more challenging levels, I'd say. Mostly for the last part of the level. And also you have to be careful not to to wrap around at the wrong time. Like, if you wrap around and there's another enemy there, you're just gonna take a death. Unfortunately, I don't believe that your shots can wrap around, so that's a little unfortunate. Unless I don't know if I've tried that. I might should actually try that. And luckily, I was at the exact correct position to avoid getting hit by that. Like, the shot just went to the wall and dissipated, thankfully. But yeah, if I would have been a little bit more to the right, I would have had to take a death. And so this level is just about getting the triple blue shot and then destroying the enemies. This level where it really helps out. For this part especially, if you don't have it, you have to, like, be really careful with positioning and not getting hit by the enemies. And when you get the blue potion, it becomes a lot easier because you don't need to worry about getting hurt by anything except the spikes, I believe. And so, yay, we're on the last world now. And so there's a rainbow you can get really quickly, but I want to be careful with that, because if it spawns in the wrong place, it can be a little bit tricky to get. And here, this level, I tried doing this without getting that book and to go to the bonus level, and it's probably one of the most challenging levels if you don't do that, so I feel like it's definitely worth it to get it. And even if you did complete it, I don't know if it will be faster, because there's a lot of enemies to clear out. And also, if you're doing like a second section run and you don't have like a lot of continues, this can be a pretty good level, because you can get another star for like a continue, or even two if you have enough stars going into it. So this level is kind of a little cycle based, and I didn't move quickly enough to get the fastest cycle here, unfortunately, but it's still not that bad a level just because there's only one enemy to clear out. And so this level, it's not that bad if you do everything correctly. So that blue potion there, I'm going to be wanting to make sure to get it. And unfortunately afterwards I got another power that caused me to, that caused that to get overwritten, so I wasn't invincible anymore, so I decided to reset the level there. Because there's one part of this level that can be a little tricky if you aren't invincible. Oh, and that part was rude there. Like, unfortunately, I didn't make that. I didn't destroy that in time, so I wasn't able to be invincible for this part. And this can be rude because you need to destroy this in a precise way, and typically, if I'm not invincible, the strat is to like clear that out and not have to worry about hitting the water, but I didn't do that properly. At one point the strat was to like just clear that out right as I was gonna take a death from the water, right before I took a death from it, and I would have had the death animation but still been okay and complete the level. And that time it worked out better, and I was able to just walk through the water. So that flip could have been better, but that level was pretty rude. And so we're in what's probably, honestly, probably one of the easiest splits in the game in this run, because there's like a glitch you can do with with going through those exclamation point blocks to get to the secret bonus. That's not the fastest way to do it, but it's much safer, and that level can be pretty rude to do properly. And this is where, like, the thing I said about the exclamation point boxes not having perfect collision, this is where you can really take advantage of that. And this level you pretty much do as intended. There's just a rainbow you can get pretty early on in the level. The only thing you have to be careful about is not getting your head booped by that, the flying enemy there. And so here we're just gonna clip through the blocks to get to secret bonus. You can literally just hold left and B to, as you start level, to buffer a jump and moving left to get there. And so there's just kind of not much you have to do here, thankfully. And yay, we destroyed all the enemies, so now we don't have any enemies in this level. We have to go through the back door of wizard school of like sorcery school to be able to get back in. And so that's where we're headed now. And so we've done it. So yeah, there's kind of not much. You can save time by being a little more daring at that last section, but I don't know. For safe strats, it's kind of not too bad if you use those. And yay, you've completed it! And we're and Magic Boy is now a master wizard. Yay! And so there's just a small credits thing. And hey, I wonder if we'll have anything else for after clean those. Oh, what better thing could we have than a game over screen? Because that's just, like, this is one of those things that does the amazing thing of giving you a game over screen after completing the game. But yeah, that was my run of Magic Boy Any %, so thanks for watching.